you don't just want to learn how to fight in the physical plane of existence, but you also want to learn how to fight mentally and spiritually as well. This first key in battling fear is extremely important because a lot of times individuals get a inherent essence of fear because they feel helpless. And so what learning self-defense, what learning a martial art, what learning a way to defend and protect yourself will do is it'll let go of that helplessness that a lot of individuals feel. And you'll be able to have a sense of autonomy within yourself when you go out into the external environment, when you go out into society. A lot of times people, that fear elicits themselves because they're unsure about what other individuals will do to them. And so this is a lot of times what bullies take advantage of. Bullies take advantage of their size, their physical prowess, and a lot of times their aggressive personality. And so what a lot of times what's going on in modern society is that the individual is being, quotation marks, bullied. And so learning how to fight will start in the physical plane, with learning how to fight in the physical plane by learning martial art, by learning self-defense, by learning how to use a weapon. What this will do for you is that when individuals get aggressive, when individuals try to use their size or their aggressiveness or their more demeaning natures to oppress and restrict you, you're able to fight back against that. And you're able to step back and be like, okay, I know what this person's doing, but I have an ability to defend myself. I have an ability to stand up for myself. And so you'll be able to still interact with these people. There's individuals out here with crazy egos. There's people out here that think they're deities and they're gods and that they've been placed in certain positions and that they're entitled to this and they're entitled to that, and that they even view people as less than human. And so when you begin to engage with individuals like this, a lot of times it's that they've crafted these egos because inside of themselves, they're extremely insecure. And so they create this ego in order to mask their insecurities. And so a lot of times, all you need to do is you just need to stand up for yourself, and then immediately their insecurities will surface and they'll back down. And so a lot of times when you look out in nature and you see dominance displays from animals, what will happen is that the supposed individual who's trying to challenge the alpha, they'll elicit a response of grandizement. They'll puff up, they'll bare their flanks, and they'll show how aggressive and big they are. And a lot of times what the alpha will do is the alpha won't immediately respond. What the alpha will do is the alpha will take a second, gauge the reaction from the challenger, and then the alpha will respond. And so for you, the individual, what learning how to fight will do for you is it will take away the illicit and the ability of you to be the aggressor. A lot of times, individuals that don't know how to fight, individuals that don't know how to manage themselves, their emotions, and how to control themselves, they immediately get mad. They immediately give into the emotions. They immediately give into instinct, and they immediately try to demean the person, and they try to restrict, and they try to come over the person. And so what learning how to do this will do for you is it'll give you a sense of calm, it'll give you a sense of peace, and it'll give you a sense of clarity, and you'll be able to think within the situation. It'll actually give you a leg up over the individuals that are seeking to do this to you. And so a lot of times when individuals identify strongly with their egos is that they need certain strokes of the ego. So they need to be in certain status positions, or they need to have a certain number in their bank account, or they need certain things in place in order for them to give the validity to the external egoic character that they're displaying. And so anytime any of these markers change, that's when the internal aspects of themselves begin to go into a state of chaos. And then they have to re-get things back into what they were before, so that whatever it is that they have perceived themselves to be can stay within that. And so it's only a matter of perception. And so when individuals do this to you, you can immediately destroy it. And so this is really a superpower. You can really just cut down whenever someone tries to do this to you. And so keep that level head, keep that calmness, but learn how to fight so that your calmness and your coolness and your demeanor has some backing up to it. You don't want to be a good man is a dangerous man. A good man, and someone who's kind, and someone who's truly has true morals and ethics within themselves, is there's someone who's capable of swinging to the other side of the pendulum. And so you're placing that restriction, you're placing that restraint on yourself. No one is placing it on you. When someone else places restraint, when other people places limitedness to you, when other people oppress you, those are the people in power. Those are people in authority. Those are people you place a sovereignty over your life. But when you do it to yourself, that's when you place sovereignty over yourself. And you can even do this with God. God can become the sovereignty over your life. That's fine. But when you do it to another human, you place human on top of the ranks of deities. And when that happens, I mean, that's when you see a lot of the chaos that has happened in human existence and human history. So don't allow this to happen to you. And this is what's going on in modern society. Within modern society, there's a lot of individuals that they've believed and they've propped themselves to be these things based off of arbitrary markers that as society has deemed as valuable. But these arbitrary markers are subjective because they're always ever changing. They're always flowing. So 1 second they're this, and the next second they're that, and the next second this happens, and the next second that happens. And so they're all over the place. And so when you're able to subject yourself on absolute markers, that's when that character, and that's when that true essence within yourself can be held on as true, and it can allow you to maneuver through society and be solid within yourself, and that core never changes. But when your core is predicated off of subjective markers, that's when it ebbs and flows. So learn how to fight in the physical realm, and then it can help you in the more mental and spiritual realms. So going into the mental realm now, there's a lot of mental warfare that's going on within modern society. And so what you'll see a lot of times is that within learning how to fight mentally is, we'll go into fitness for a second. So let's say you're trying to lose weight, and let's say you go to the gym, and a lot of times you can't control a lot of things that is going on in the external environment, but you can control yourself. And so learning how to fight mentally, this will help you to control yourself, how to control your emotions. And so let's say you go to the gym and you're sitting down, you're working out, and they have the TVs on. And so a commercial comes up for Wendy's, and you're trying to lose 10 pounds, but every time you go out, you're seeing influences from these external things. So learning how to fight mentally is, okay, the external influence has entered into my conscious awareness, but I'm choosing to battle it and not allow it to influence me. So this is what will increase your will. There's a lot of conversations going on within academia with scientists, and they argue that free will either does exist or doesn't exist. And so there's a middle ground here, because every person is born with a certain amount of will, and every single person is being influenced by the external environment. But you can increase your will, and increasing your will comes from challenging yourself. It comes from doing things that you haven't previously done before. It comes from broadening your scope, broadening your awareness. It comes from building that mental toughness, that's mental fortitude. This is what David Goggins is doing. This is what some of those other guys you see doing, these crazy endurance things, these crazy feats of physical prowess. They're testing their will, they're testing their limits, and this could even stem into the mental realm. And every single episode I'm doing is working towards something. And so in the last episode, I talked about how you can connect the mind and the body. And so once you connect the mind and the body, and you've built that physical will, now you can build that mental will as well. And so this will help you to not be at the mercy of what's going on in the external environment, and so that you can have that choice, and you can have free will, and you can have the will in order to choose and to say, okay, do I want to do this or not do that? And so for you individuals that are going on a pathway of development and discovery, this will give you the ability to say no to some of the influences that is happening within current society. Current society wants to brainwash you and wants to leave you at the mercy of not having free will, because it makes it easier for you to extenuate resources to whoever wants the resources from you, and you get to engage on whatever platform or in whatever mechanism that they want you to engage in. This is the problem with social media. A lot of individuals, it's programming you to continually to go back. That's the issue with drugs. This is how individuals become addicted to things. And so by increasing your will, it increases the ability for you to say no to certain things, even not things predicated on your journey of discovery and development, but also in dealing with some of these new technologies, and if you're trying to let go of certain bad habits. I've had many bad habits in the past. I used to struggle with pornography. I used to struggle with smoking weed. I used to struggle with I'm not very good at handling my finances. And so what building my will is, it makes you take a step back and makes you go, okay, let me stop. Let me not continue to allow this to affect me. And it gives you the ability for free will. But when you forget, or when you believe that free will doesn't exist, then you're essentially at the mercy of whatever be. And from there, you can see no progress. You can see no development. You're essentially damned to fate. And I do not want this to happen to anyone. You can always grow and develop in the mental and the spiritual aspects of yourself. Will is a very spiritual thing. And so when you begin to work on your will, when you begin to develop your will and increase your will, you're increasing your spiritual prowess. And when you increase your spiritual prowess, now this can aid you in the mental realm and the physical realm as well. And so I might make an episode coming up in the future, how you can increase and how you can control your will. But this is what you want to do. Then this is very deep, because there's everyone has a different type of personality, but personality isn't predicated on the ability for one to lead, or predicated on one's ability to conquer. And this went into why I wrote key number 1 into being why you want to learn how to fight, is because also your ability to navigate and to relate to the external environment. And so what increasing your will do for you is it gives you power. It gives you something for where you feel true and you feel strength within yourself. And I made a video a long time ago that there's different types of strength. And so a lot of individuals in today's society, they're predicated just on the superficial aspects of oneself. They're focused on beauty. They're focused on aesthetic. They're focused on strength in terms of what your numbers are. And you see this a lot of times in gym culture. You see a lot of gym bros, and they're just worried about what their numbers are. And so, but strength is a very internal thing. And so this is where you see toxic masculinity come from, is because you'll see guys who've identified with the ego and they're physically strong and they think that they are strong, but mentally they're weak. I've seen incredible women who had some of the most incredible bouts of mental strength and will I've ever seen. And I've seen guys who on the outside level look strong, but mentally they'll break like this. And so you want to learn how to fight. And if you can learn how to fight, this will take you tremendously far. And this will allow you not to fall prey to those external influences that might be limiting some of you right now.